Hey guys, it's Peanut Butter Ice Cream Bar. Here I am again, yay! So, Mene's first character video. This is gonna be a longer one, I think, and it's going to take some time because I'm gonna have to explain a few things along the way, so I hope you don't get lost. Bring a trail of breadcrumbs. So the first thing you need to know about Mene is that he was born a natural witch. There are really only two differences between a natural witch and a human. The first being that humans are born with these barriers. Natural barriers against supernatural energies and entities and things that really keep you from being affected by or perceiving supernatural goings-ons. It's just something that the human body naturally does. Now, a natural witch does not have those barriers. They're also born with the ability to develop supernatural powers. I don't know, like magic-y stuff. Now, most natural witches, when they're born, all of their ability, their, potential ability goes toward making those barriers that humans have. Most natural witches only have that much power, so you would never really even know. And it's something that your body does naturally, like blinking or swallowing the spit in your mouth. I don't know. Normal stuff that you don't do consciously, your body just does it and you don't think about it. You don't even really know what's happening, like digesting food. Those barriers are just going up, whether you like it or not, you can't control it. Now, if you do have any power left over, as Mene happened to, you're going to have some other developments in your life that we will get to later. First, let's talk a little bit about Mene's family. So Mene was born in a town called Fallbank and had a pretty normal life. His parents, they live in an upper middle class neighborhood. They used to be able to afford that. Super nice, and can't afford it so much anymore. They kind of had children at an inopportune time, if that's the nicest way to say that. Mene's father had this dream that he was going to own a restaurant, not work in one, but own one, and it was going to be so successful, and, his wife wouldn't have to work, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes through this dream, but as Mene is born, this dream starts to die and fail. And so they really struggle financially for the rest of Mene's time that he lives with them. So they become very busy, and Mene always gets this feeling from his parents and has this fear that they didn't really want him and they kind of resent him for being this kind of burden on them. Not that that's the way they actually feel. I mean, I think they do feel a little bit of resentment, but not toward him, toward their situation. So Mene, from a very young age, kind of develops this desire to be a very responsible person who's not going to be a burden on anybody. Mene, actually, his name is Miles. Miles has a younger brother who comes along, Caleb, who later becomes Casper, and Mene just develops this desire to take care of Casper, his younger brother, because he really wants to show his parents that he's not a burden and that he can help out around the house, and the more that he does, and the more that he does correct, the more his parents subconsciously start to rely on him. So they form this kind of weird relationship where Mene is their child, but he really doesn't act like their child most of the time. He acts like some kind of caregiver. He doesn't really go to them to talk to them about, like, what happened in school today? What are his issues? How's all that growing up going? They don't have that kind of relationship. They're just not super close. As Mene gets older, there's a thing that happens to natural witches called Babbling. And basically what happens is if you have enough power left over from throwing up those barriers against the supernatural that your body does normally, if you have anything left over, you're going to start experiencing from, babyhood to usually about 13, 14, maybe 12, start experiencing very small amounts of some kind of ability throughout your everyday life. What happens with that is how the person perceives it and how other people around them perceive it, and what you believe it to be ends up being kind of your aptitude. It basically develops your own ability. So it's a very psychological link between what your power ends up being and what you believe it was going to be, or what you were afraid it was going to be, or, you know, your strongest feeling of what it was as you were babbling. For example, in Io, there are, among natural witches, there are a lot more mediums than there are, say, telekinetics, because if you were to see a, you know, teapot start levitating for 3 seconds and drop back down, most people assume it's something happening to them or their house, rather than, oh my god, I just made my teapot move. Now, Mene is a person who does not like self-reflection. He feels not so great about himself, and he also likes to keep himself busy. He likes to keep himself, like, single mom busy. And he feels like he has a lot of responsibility, he's taken on a lot of responsibility, and he wants to really fulfill his duties. Duties. How old am I? Fulfill your duties. So his powers develop in kind of a strange way, and they turn into kind of a strange thing. And remember that these babbles, these instances of like different kinds of abilities, they are not something that would be super noticeable to everyone. It'd be noticeable if it was happening to you all the time, but Mene doesn't talk to anybody. His parents are often not home. The only person he really talks to is Casper, and that's kind of it. Mene's abilities get locked in at a very early age, something that normally happens like 12 to 14. It happens for him like 8 or 9. And it starts with just seeing what he calls freckles and scars. Freckles are like little points of light on your body and your face, wherever, and scars are kind of the same thing, lines, and he doesn't really know what they are. He doesn't really have an idea that that's different from the way other people see things. He doesn't get that until much later. Unfortunately, the thing that happens after you stop babbling is that you start to have surges, and surges are something that, it's kind of like magic puberty. It kind of lasts from when you stop babbling, usually 12 to 14, and then will stop around late 20s, early 30s, so much longer than puberty, they say. I don't know. I'm in my 20s and I still get acne. What's that about? Remember, kids, your boobs can change size at any time during life. So what happens with a surge is it's kind of a new desire that you feel. Oh gosh, a new desire. It's not a sexual desire. Let me just make that clear, because that sounded very innuendo. It's just like any desire you might have, like when you really need to pee and then you pee and it feels awesome, or when you're really hungry and then you eat something and you're like, oh my god, best day ever. It's just another urge that your body would like to satisfy, and when you do satisfy it, it feels really good. So there's lots of different kinds of urges, right? This is just another kind of urge. When Mene starts going through surges, he is still quite young and he doesn't really understand them at all. And what he's able to do, because during surges you also experience, and just during that time of your life when you are surging, it sounds like a crazy energy drink. Maybe it probably is an energy drink. Is that an energy drink? Surge, with very many U's. You tend to experience, higher levels of your own natural ability, and you get more power, you get stronger. And what happens for Mene is he starts to not just see these freckles and scars, he starts to see actual ghostly things and hear ghostly voices. And he's not sure what they mean, but he's definitely sure at this point in his life that that is not normal, because like that was not happening before, and people are not like, oh my god, what is that weird thing across the street? I mean, he's pretty sure it's not normal at this point. And he can't interact with any of these things. He can just see and hear them, and they're creepy. Though he does realize after a certain period of time, he can actually, if he gets like a good grip on somebody, he can, for a little bit, let them see and hear what he's seen and hearing. So this is something he's probably done to Casper a few times in his life and feels absolutely horrible about it. Not a thing a good caretaker should do. That is kind of not so great, because they've grown up together, and in many ways Mene has helped raise Casper, but Casper, because someone has always been there to really take care of him, there's always been someone to talk to, does not have the same strained relationship with his parents that Mene does. Casper eventually gets to this preteen area of like, all I want to do is hang out with my friends, I don't like my family anymore, my brother is super lame, and he gets tired of hearing about Mene's ghost stories. He also thinks that he is seeing and hearing some of the things that Mene is, which he's really not, but still. So he goes and he talks to his parents about it. His parents are very disturbed by all of that, and they're like, Mene, you gotta go to the hospital, because this ain't right.